was just watching the podcast Your Mom's House, which is Tom Segura and Christina. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, Christina P. Um, and you were talking about someone who had written in, one of their friends always leaves the subtitles on. And as someone who also always leaves, but I don't make other people do it. If other people are watching the TV with me and they don't like it, I turn it off. But I always do it, and I have a reason, and the reason goes back to the fact that when you read things, like there are a lot of studies out there that say that the human brain can't multitask. And when I read these studies, I'm never convinced, because what it sounds like to me when they're reading these, when they're doing this research, is they're not really seeing whether your brain's doing a bunch of stuff. They're kind of following the consciousness around. And I have come up with this thing called the foreman fallacy. It's like if a foreman of a factory were showing you around the factory, leading you from one floor to another, and you came to the conclusion that when you and the foreman weren't in the room, all the workers just stopped working and just froze in place. That's not what happens in a factory, and I don't think that's what happens in your brain. I have lots of times when I am thinking about something consciously, but I can feel something going on under the surface, and it's like the way I describe it. And I wrote this into a story, put it in the words of one of the characters in the story, is that it's like when your pets are playing under the covers on your bed and you can't really tell what's going on, but you can feel, or you can see that there's something going on. And a lot of times I can feel like there's something happening. I don't know what it is. And so I'll think about other things and do other things, and then all of a sudden this fully formed thought comes out that it really strains credibility to say that it was a sudden inspiration. It's just a huge complex thought will pop out, and then the noise quiets down. And the conclusion I've come to is that there was a part of my brain that I'm just not conscious of that was doing something else. So the brain is this complex thing. I find the same thing when I talk to myself out loud. I find that if I need to tell myself something, like you got to remember to close the refrigerator door, if I say it to myself in my head, it doesn't have the same impact, because if I say it out loud, especially if I say stupid at the end of it, it goes into my ear, into a completely different part of my brain, which is connected to the other parts of my brain. So when I turn on the subtitles, not only I'm kind of amused when the subtitles are wrong. Stuff like that, it both annoys and amuses me at the same time. So when I see something and I'm like, hey, he didn't say that. That kind of I kind of get a tickle out of that. And or when like they translate something badly, and I put like if it's in another language, I put the English subtitles on, or if it's a language I know, and like every word meaning big in English, enormous, gigantic, huge, big, it all gets reduced to grande in Spanish. And but the reason that I put the subtitles on is because I can absorb the material through my ears, goes into the audio parts of my brain, which are connected to the rest of my brain in a completely different way from the way that the reading part going in through my eyes is connected to my brain. So I get this, all of the drama and all of the humor and all this stuff. I get it two ways. It's an extra thing. And when you're talking about the comic timing, I appreciate that concern. I really do appreciate that concern. But I don't think that someone who's doing it, at least if they're doing it for the reason I do, miss the comic timing. Because what will happen is sometimes the subtitles are ahead of the audio track, sometimes they're behind, and the second time it comes into my brain boosts. So if the subtitles are ahead of the audio, yeah, I'm getting the punchline before all the timing is done through. But when the punchline comes through with the visual, and it's really weird because the reading is visual, it goes into the whatever part of your brain reads, and but then the video of the person moving around and doing the gestures and the facial expressions is tied to the audio, which that goes into the physicality of the comedian is going into the social parts of the brain, while the text is going into the reading parts of the brain, and the audio is going into the ear, and then in and these are all connected differently. I'll feel, okay, I get the joke, and then when the punchline with all of its timing punches through, it's just like it's like when those fireworks, that there's a little burst and you're like, oh, and then there's a huge burst after it. So I don't feel like there's anything missing. To me, it augments it. And I've watched comedy specials that were, I've watched them both ways. I've watched them. I can remember watching things before I used to put the subtitles on, and it just, I really feel like I enjoy not just the comedy better, regardless of which way that the subtitles are off track, but just the drama better, and everything. It just gets like a double effect because more parts of my brain, because like I said, these different processing centers are connected to your brain in a different way, and so it's just like it's flooding in through multiple channels, and it's just, I don't know, it seems more punchy to me. Again, I can understand the concern that this might be drawing something away from the effect of what you want, what the people who created, whatever it is, whether it's a film or it's a comedy special, what they wanted on the screen. But at least for me, I don't feel like it takes anything. I think it augments it. It actually adds another layer and another input to. I mean, it's like stereo. Maybe don't be so hard on that guy. Maybe that guy is really just doing it because he's got anxiety. But I do that all the time, and to me, it's because I've realized from having done it a couple times that it just makes the whole experience. I don't know. It just adding things. It's like it's like when you watch a movie for the second time and they've added scenes and there's just like suddenly the story just pops in a way that it didn't. So adding the text in there gets an entirely completely different part of my brain engaged in the drama or the comedy or the horror or the action, whatever it is. And I just think that it adds something. The only caveat I'll say before I close, because this is running a bit long, is that the thing I don't like, which I know why it's there for people who are hearing impaired, is the little music notes that they put on there when the music comes on. That doesn't really help. But I understand the subtitles are not for me. The subtitles are for people who actually need them. I just enjoy them. So anyway, I hope that adds a little bit of I don't know what you would call it, perspective. And John Nelson Leith out.